Hi. Okay. So we are live. I'll just start in a couple of minutes. I have some data sets which we need to discuss. So that can be deployed, and we need to get some things straight. Uh, we'll start with the process of what is verification. The KYC is very important. And let me tell you, KYC should not be based on other records because even if somebody is on a rent in India, I'm talking about India right now. I'm not getting into data set of other countries because we have to take care of this whatever the data set is. If we consider it as 1.4, which is not, because there are many people who are dead and still, especially in the not from the viewpoint of record purposes, but from the viewpoint of just to show that uh, India leading Japan. That's a big statement to be made because on record, a lot of um, human beings who go 85 plus, 90 plus, they are still alive in the records of these private banks. One example is IDFC First Bank. For the longest time, I've been trying to take out the whatever these they have these kind of systems where input is done in terms of money, but KYC is not. I'm not able to take out from IDFT first. I'm not able to take out the fiat currency from Axis Bank, which was again earlier UTI Bank, and the dilemma is let's talk about the problem statement. Let's talk about Axis Bank. I think that's the greatest data set right now because this data set comes from Jalapuri, New Delhi. The pin code is 110058. So C3/8 is of AIC Bank. They think infinity. First of all these banks, all these banks which are house converted into banks um, are being used as banks where they are keeping jewelry, blah blah blah. The point of contention is very simple. Any bank from the place I live in the vicinity, let's take say for example, if I have to take the data set of 10 kilometers, 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers, 40 kilometers, 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers. To be on the safer side, let's take the first 10,000 kilometers from the data set of C/C3A/436 Jalapuri. That is the real address. The Aadhaar address KYC is totally wrong. It is done from the Bangalore. They cannot do it without the consent because whatever the data set is on the documentation of the paper, that is the property papers. On property papers, there's nothing written as basin. There's nothing written as block. I take up any data set, it is appalling. If I take the data set of Zomato, it is Dabri. Where is Dabri? Dabri is a village where fishes and everything are sold off. How Dabri is part of Janakpuri? That is the question Dipinder Goyal needs to answer. Because Dipinder Goyal, for the longest time, although I'm not getting into this personal life, but it is a Joshi family business because all his relatives, which I know, and even my batchmate uh, was part of whatever. I'm not getting the names and not giving the names, but the point of contention here is these are bad players. They are not good players. Depending on the face of it, he shows that oh, we did this, we did that, but the reality is it was food eBay, and eBay was a trade. Obviously, eBay filed in India, and the first thing because the investment was for Make My Trip. The next day, they put a domain name thinking that Z is going to change their life, and that is what the video is on in the online world. You go to the records, you were going to see that there was a case which was filed against Foodie Bay, and because of that food case, they trained and they came to the story, whatever the stories are. And I was the first one to report it because I was going through something, and we had done this presentation at Amity, Noida. So Amity Noida had called upon us for whatever reasons. That being said, what is important here is to understand is the basic input data set has to be correct. I'm not here to blame anyone. This is one of the examples because we have Zomato and they are portraying that they are the best in the market, but they have to agree to the fact that it was a family business. Because if the first 50 employees are all Joshis, that is particularly a family business. And what I feel what they're doing today also in terms of gimmick, again, it's a gimmick. Um, I know the family better because they are from my own school, that is St. Francis Jalapuri. And from our school itself, we have a lot of players, clear tax, Archit Gupta, Prashant Tandon, and all these, other players. Even I'm not taking names; they don't even deserve that kind of attention. But clear tax talking about IPR, congratulations. His father is a CA, and people who understand the community, if you understand the number community, CAs can manipulate the numbers. And by manipulation, they have manipulated the numbers in a way where they show the startup is earning X. That is the first round of funding. That is the angel funding. So angel funding is generally from the friends and family. And when I say friends and family, what happens is they say we did this, and for this invoice came to us. That is due diligence. And in all these cases, including Make My Trips and the ties and everything, because that is the reason I'm not part of these organizations, neither NOSCOM, neither CII, because I knew from the very beginning, I knew that uh, when I entered the parenting world and what I was writing and what I was looking, the purpose is much, much bigger. It is not about India. It is about the canvas. It is about the inking of the canvas in the online world. And we know at one point of time there were many players in the telecommunication. That being said, I with great responsibility and with great opportunity in terms of knowing that I've been agent since 2006. I gave my exam. 2007 I cleared. On the timeline I'm on 2025. But there's another player from Kolkata who files that okay he paid till 2018. So when I say or whether whosoever understands that on the timeline, this is a contract between the government and the human patent agent. I don't know how many people are able to appreciate the acts and the bare acts, whatever is there. That is the reason Elon Musk, Trump, whatever they're doing the right thing. It's not from today. If you go back to any era, you will see even people going to UK. They used to take a break. After 6 months, they will take a break. They will just work and they will find ways to stay in the country. That is the reason also UK is fed up. UK is fed up, US is fed up, Singapore is of another level altogether. They don't want good candidates, let me tell you. For the longest time, I have been serving Singapore in so many ways, and we had a company running in Singapore. And what I got in return was null and void, at least for me, because we were two partners. I didn't earn a single penny, neither I give my feedback to the company because that venture was not my thought process. My process was a venture which is an LLP. And again, as I said, I take full responsibility. I'm not saying that, the other founder was at fault. My fault that I started a business with this kind of a person having X kind of a background because that documentation is also online. Again, that is not the problem statement. The problem here is we had three good, very strong trademarks. And it's not only the trademark, but the intent with which the trademark was filed. But obviously, it went into dispute. The other party filed for, assignment and all. So the government has the money. I mean, government has the money and nobody can use it. So logically, anything which is being used, at least in the premise of India, both of us should be getting 50% of the income. At least from my end, I was 100%, not 100%, but the way I started the company, the way I created the canvas, the way I created the 10,000 plus pages, for me, it was a big thing. I mean, being online takes a lot of effort. It is not what people are doing nowadays. I mean, being online and connecting with the thought process of what has to be built, the framework was so strong. People can read books. I don't care about it. What is important here is to understand is there are zillion trademark patent applications which were filed. There were invoices sent here and there. I know my part. I know my bit. I don't know the bit of the other party, and neither I want to know the bit because it's honestly speaking, although the LLP is on, it is showing active, but it is a dormant LLP, and that is the reason the LLP Act in India has to be abolished. That is limited liability partnership. I have a DIN number. Now, how government of India, with the best of the minds, can solve this problem? It is their problem statement, not my problem statement. I have when this dispute happened, and when I saw what I'm losing and what I'm gaining, the gain was much higher. But at the same point of time, on the paperwork, it is weak. Even the bank accounts, which HDFC Bank, after multiple reminders to the bank, they have not closed the bank account, which is sad, which is bad. So I don't know how these problem statement would be solved, but this is the reality. The reality is the KYC, know your customer. The know your customer service is negative, not only, I would say it's carbon negative. Let's put that way. KYC for the pause is carbon negative, and then see what can be done. And all these banks, which are especially the house banks, so I can also convert my house into a bank and say, I have a bank here. The point of contention is if it is a bank, it has to work from a commercial place. It cannot be working in houses and saying, see, it is a bank. I mean, come on, it's just a small piece of land, and on that, you're calling it a bank. And all these UTI banks and Axis Bank and ICIC Bank and this bank and that bank, it is the Bitcoin is going to increase, and it is going to increase to a point miners will forget about mining. And that is the reason whatever Trump is doing, he's doing right. Elon is doing right. What we are doing is right. The question India has to answer is the politics and the policies. How we want to overcome the current situation. That's the question you need to answer. Thank you for watching.